All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Akar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch. And this is going to be a walk and talk, style video. Lord willing, it'd be edifying unto you brothers out there and a few sisters listening and also learning. And it's just I was just meditating upon everything that's happening, prophetically upon the earth. All right, because we're in a time of, we're in a heavy time of fulfillment of biblical prophecy. All right, we're in a time of, the MOTB about to be made mandatory upon the earth. You can see how, they're pushing that technology. You can see how they're finalizing, the apparatus that allow that technology to work and to flourish. And, you have wars and rumors of wars currently taking place upon the earth. And as we know, very soon, America, which is Babylon the Great, is going to get fully, dragged into that war. As the scriptures tell us, the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right. And that's going to happen. All right. They're going to get fully involved in this war that's currently, transpiring upon the earth, man. It's only a matter of time. But before that happens, we must have the MOTB, mandatory upon the earth. Okay. And people, getting chipped. So, as we measure the time diligently, as it tells us in 2 Ezra 9, we can see that it's not long before all of those things actually come to pass. All right, so we're in a very, very heavy time. Now, I was thinking of, there's this quote by Vladimir Lenin, if I'm not mistaken. He was a Russian journalist. I've done a video on it, some years back. And it was even mentioned at the camp, at the main camp. One of the brothers had mentioned it. And he mentioned the quote, which is basically, if I can remember it accordingly, there are decades where nothing happens, but there are weeks where decades happen. Okay? There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. Showing you that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is able to do a great deal pushing forward to the end of Esau Edom's kingdom in a very short space of time. And as it tells us in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and around the 4th verse, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Okay, so we're in that time where you can just wake up in the morning and there could be a great deal of events that have transpired upon the earth in a very short space of time. Literally. That's going to bring us closer and closer to the point of the appearing that we're all waiting for. All right, the appearing of Yahweh Shai. Okay? So that's the kind of times that we're in. So it's mandatory, it's imperative that you get right with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because we're in them last days, man. And as it tells us in Isaiah 55 and 6, if I'm not mistaken, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. That's what the scriptures tell us to do. So now is the time, and it's always been the time, to make sure that you're seeking Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai while he may be found. You know, while the men are on the highways and the byways, you know, preaching this word and giving you the scope on what's really going on in these last days, because the day is going to come where the famine of the word is going to kick in, and you're not going to see the men of the Lord on the highways and the byways, man. Don't forget that, all right? Don't forget there's going to be a time where the Lord is going to cause these men to be withdrawn, all right? To no more be found, all right? You're not going to find us, you know, in the flesh. You ain't going to find us online. You know, there's going to be an end to the street ministry, all right? As I say from time to time, there's going to be an end to the street ministry, okay? And when the end to the street ministry has commenced, you know, your time for getting the answers, you know, for getting the breakdowns and for getting the understanding of the Holy Bible, that time would have came to an end, you know? So we are actually in that time where very soon you're not going to be seeing us on the highways and the byways. You ain't going to be tuning in to the apostles, all right, when they go out, you know, on a Saturday or any other camp that you know, listen to during the week or whenever they go out. There's going to be a time when that's all going to stop, all right? That's all going to stop. And from that point, you know, through the Spirit, you know, you're on your own, all right? You're on your own. So now is the time to get right with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and to do the necessary things according to your lot to make your calling and your election sure. As the scriptures tell us, you know, to give diligence and to make your calling and your election sure, all right? So there's still time, all right, to put your hand to the plow. There's still time to seek Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, all right? There's still time. You know, the scriptures speak about the 11th hour. Okay, and the scriptures also say, another scripture that's come to mind, I believe it may be in the book of John, the 9th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it talks about how the night cometh where no man can work. All right, so now's the time, now's been the time, you know, to get the work in and to make your calling and election sure. But the time's coming where, you know, that cutoff point is gonna manifest, man. And that's what we've been hoping for. That's what we've been praying for through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. It's for the Lord to come back and to do away, you know, with this wicked kingdom, man. Because we're sick of being here, all right? We're sick of being here, man. We're sick of, you know, looking at you devils. We're sick of, you know, tolerating the wickedness and the obscenity of this kingdom. You know, we want it to come to an end. We want Yahweh Shai, you know, to be reigning again upon the earth, man. That's what we're looking to. That's what we're praying for through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? But, you know, that saying came to my mind, man. You know, Vladimir Lenin, you know, there are decades where nothing happens, where it seemeth like nothing happens, but where you got to understand, the Lord does things in his own time. So it might seem like a long time to us because we're in the flesh, but really, hey, in the Lord's time, it's only been 2 days. All right, it's only been 2 days. So the Lord is still hot and still in the spirit of destroying, you know, this wicked kingdom. All right, his anger hasn't been quenched. All right, the scriptures say that the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. All right, the Lord is angry with the wicked every single day, man. All right, that you know how they say time is a healer? We're not concerning Esau Edom. All right, the Lord is going to completely demolish and annihilate, you know, these devils, man. All right. And the scriptures even say, you know, the Lord wish it were already kindled. All right, the Lord wants to come back and do the business on this place, man. Yahweh Shai wants to come back and demolish these Edomites, man. He's in the spirit of doing that. And he's always going to be in the spirit of doing that until it's done. All right. So I'm going to cut it off there. You know, Lord willing, this brief video was edifying. And until the next time, I'll say shalom.